Hi, I'm Carol. Today I'll be taking you through the lessons Population Circle and Oh, How We've Grown. Lessons that look at how the global population has changed over the past 500 years. There is significant overlap between these two lessons. Oh, How We've Grown is a two-part lesson, and Population Circle actually serves as part one, as well as being its own standalone lesson plan. These lessons cover topics that are great for social studies, but they can also be plugged into science and math. And though written for middle level or upper elementary grades, the content is relevant to some high school classes and can be fun at that level as well. There are two matching objectives in these lessons. First, that students will be able to describe trends of human population growth. And second, explain the basic attributes of exponential growth, having that slow start and a fast finish. From part two of Oh, How We've Grown, students will be able to prepare a timeline that graphically portrays population doubling through history. So let's get started with Population Circle. To prepare for this interactive activity, you'll put a large circle of yarn on the ground and cut out the 32 counting cards provided in the lesson plan. I'll narrate as I would in class. The circle of yarn represents the Earth, and today we're going to travel through time to experience how the population of the Earth has changed over 500 years. The way that we travel through time is by counting. We will count in unison from 1 to 100, and with each number, jump through time 5 years. When we begin and are at 0, the year is 1525. So when we count 1, we'll be in 1530. When we count 2, we'll be in 1535. 3, 1540, and so on, so that when we say 100, we'll be in the year 2025. Each student receives a counting card. The card has two numbers, and for the simulation, we'll focus on the number that's right in the middle of that card. It's somewhere between 0 and 100. As we count, when we say the number on anyone's card, that person will step into the yarn circle. And by doing so, they have just added to the global population. To demonstrate today, I'm simply going to use this small circle of yarn on the table. And rather than students stepping into it, I'll be placing the cards themselves within the circle to represent population growth. Now there are two cards with 0. Those two students should step into the circle before the counting begins to represent the population in the year 1525. After that, the counting happens, with students stepping into the circle at the appropriate times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Welcome to the year 2025. At the end of the simulation, I really like to ask students to describe, in their own words, what they saw happen. For scaffolding, you may first ask students to literally describe what they saw, so speaking in terms of their classmates, counting, and a circle of yarn. After they've described the concrete, they can describe what the simulation represents. So now we'll be speaking in terms of the global population on Earth over several hundred years. And that's the lesson Population Circle and part one of Oh, How We've Grown. Now I'd like to show you part two of the lesson Oh, How We've Grown. Here, we'll again look at 500 years of population history, but by creating a timeline and specifically considering doubling time. The timeline will be created by using length to represent time. The scale we'll be using is 1 meter equals 100 years. If you'd like to have students practice linear metric measurements, you could break this down to decimeters and centimeters as well. Display the chart of world population growth doubling time from the lesson plan. Students will first determine how many years it took for the population to double, starting in 1525. Then they'll convert those years into length. For example, the population of 500 million in 1525 doubled to 1 billion in 1804. That took 279 years. So using our scale of 100 years equals 1 meter, I calculate that this section of the timeline should be 2 meters and 79 centimeters long. Now it's time to build the timeline. Students will start with the year 1525, represented at one end of paper on a roll of adding machine tape. They'll measure the appropriate length to represent the first doubling of global population, then the second doubling, and so on. Check out the lesson plan for discussion questions that can help you debrief both the simulation and timeline with students. We also provide some critical thinking questions, asking students what changed over the past 500 years that could have impacted how our population grew, and what would happen if we continue to grow at the current rate. And that's a wrap. I hope you'll try out Population Circle or Oh How We've Grown with your students. If you'd like to find more lessons about demographics or other population-related content, please visit our website, populationeducation.org.